Hello.
Silence.
No.
Do 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 do. Oh God, Jason, no! Ah!
Huh? Oh,
Have you never seen Friday the
I
13th?
have. It's just been
Oh, or was that Mike
very
Myers? I get them
long.
confused very often.
No, that's Halloween.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, like, I always get those two different movies kind of mixed up, like with
Oh,
their themes and stuff.
really? Oh. See,
Yeah.
I always just remember that associated with Halloween, but Jason now, especially because of Mortal Kombat, I just do.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Mike Myers from Halloween had that little jangle
Yeah,
jangle.
he has the
Jangle jangle.
yeah, where he just stands there and kind of stares at you, and then you're just like, oh, okay, and just kind of close the drapes a little bit.
Skirt, we're talking about Witcher. Okay, that's enough so we don't get a copyright claim.
If we do, I blame you.
You blame me.
I'm blaming you. I'm like,
You can retroactively cut that out then. Anyway,
I'll try.
The Witcher came out. The Witcher came out. The Witcher came out. The Witcher came out. The Witcher came out.
Finally, after fucking. Oh,
Finally.
and I'm Adam, by the way.
And I'm realistic growing beard physics.
I'm the wind that blows in the trees. That's another.
I'm the voice on the wind. Witcher.
Yeah, if we're just gonna jump right into it, that's a really cool little thing in the game. As far as where the fuck do I even begin with this?
Your beard grows in real life, yo.
Yeah, I mean,
Geralt's got 5 o'clock shadow.
he totally does. I mean, even when they shave him, it still looks like he has a beard, kind of, which is really funny.
So I have a question, because, like, I haven't played it yet, but,
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that whenever he gets his beard shaved, just by the sexy lady that he sexes up. Am I too far off the mark there?
Wait,
Because
say
I feel
that
like
again?
that's not a spoiler.
Say that again?
I feel like when Geralt goes to get his beard shaved, it's probably by some sexy lady that he then sexes up afterwards.
No, that's not.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's like written in there, man.
No, it's
hey man, I'm not gonna judge Geralt for his personal life choices. He can do whatever he pleases.
If he wants to swing that way, that's totally his decision. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I haven't actually gotten to any of personally haven't gotten to any of the romance scenes yet, or the whorehouse scenes. But from what I saw, I think about a week ago when the game was released and people started posting videos about it, those sex scenes are actually they take a different approach than what something like Mass Effect or like the BioWare stuff does, because it's a lot more goofy. It's weirdly a lot more goofy than the BioWare stuff.
Well, honestly, I feel like it should be goofy because considering the nature of the game, it's going to be like a dark game. Yeah, you got to find a way.
Even when like you're having sex, like you do some kind of weird shit when you're having sex, and it's a really.
Hey, you live as long as Geralt of Rivia, and with like there's literally like zero negative effects that he's gonna get because I mean he's sterile, he can't have kids. Spoiler alert, everybody. He's immune to poison and like diseases and shit like that, so he's not gonna.
It's not like Fable where
he can just do whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah, no, he can. Yeah, no. He's probably. I don't even know how old Geralt is supposed to be. They never really got into that.
He's like 150, 200 years old.
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, but I don't know if they've ever actually dated him.
I don't think even he knows how old he is.
Well, I mean, yeah, because actually, I think at the end of the second game, he got his memory back. So because he was walking around with amnesia for a while.
That's true, but
I mean, that doesn't mean they actually went into it.
Right, but I think because he looks like a 45-year-old man, he really doesn't. He's lost his memory quite a few times, and just he's gone through like long stretches of being in the same place as one. Because there was a point, like earlier in the lore, when he and Yennefer discovered an island, and they pretty much stayed on there for. And Yennefer's his one true love, I guess. By the way, they pretty much stay on there for a good long time. Even he says we stopped counting the days, we stopped counting time of how long we were there.
Well, the thing is, she probably didn't age because she's a sorceress.
Well, she's really, from what I've heard, she's really an old woman, like an old woman, a hunchback or a troll. But because of her magic, she uses her to make herself look young and beautiful. But even in her normal state, apparently Geralt didn't even care. So that's why she just like immensely loves him.
See, everybody, that's The Witcher is teaching everyone a good thing. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's about what's on the inside and the love you share for each other.
Well, again, that's your decision whether to stay with Yennefer or go fuck every whore in the world or...
Hey, you can do that on the way to her, okay?
Because actually, no, you can't.
You can't? What?
Nope. They're, like, whorehouses, as far as I know, in the one area that you're kind of stuck in, there aren't any whorehouses. It's just like an old, decrepit village. It's just a fucking nasty area. But once you get to the big city, oh yeah, the elven bathhouses and all that, fuck yeah, you get to the fucking... If you want to, of course. You get to the sexing. But even at
then... I mean, you don't... I'm pretty sure they have some roles where it's kind of like, hey, whatever, you know.
Yeah, they do. They have, from what I remember seeing a week ago, they have one side mission where a woman challenges you to a fight, and if you beat her in combat, she'll kind of be infatuated with you, and she'll say something like, "Oh, well, I always promised I'd marry the man that could best me in combat," and then Geralt kind of refuses. Apparently, I don't even know if there's an option to really get with her, but you just have sex with her anyway. Because it's completely consensual, and even she's like, yeah, I want you right now. And Geralt's like, okay. So they just do it right there in her house for like...
It's kind of like an Assassin's Creed 2 where it, like, Ezio, like, races against a woman or something like that, or and she's like, you know, let's just have sex. And he's like, sure, why not? Let's do this.
I forgot about that.
Because Ezio had sex with a lot of ladies. I mean, yeah, Jesus Christ.
He was a charmer.
Like, that's like something they didn't actually include in any of the other games.
No one else. Besides maybe Edward Kenway, who you can kind of assume that he's been with a lot of women.
Well, no. But I mean, the thing is, they didn't have your character going around and just sort of like be like, okay, you can have sex with this person and this person and this person.
It's not like Witcher.
And this game starts with a sex scene. What? Yep.
Actually, it's not technically a sex scene. It's a part where you see Yennefer nude, and it's not a sex scene. You just see her nude. It's a very, like, they got, like, CD Projekt Red got a lot of shit initially when the media previewed that opening scene, where they said something like, well, the men, like, Geralt isn't really given any kind of, you know, junkage exposure or any, like, ass shots, which, to be fair, he doesn't have so far in the game. Which,
yeah, he does.
Not really. You never really see his ass yet.
Yeah, you do. It's in the unicorn thing, in the unicorn scene.
Well, I haven't gotten to the unicorn part yet.
Well, it's in there. It was out there in the media.
Not as much as Yennefer or Triss or any of the other women in the game.
Well, because the thing is, he's sexualized in a totally different way. Like when he's like shirtless and crap like that. Like I literally had a friend on Facebook saying, like, she's like, trying my best not to fangirl about Geralt of Rivia. Why do they have to be so hot?
I mean,
if you think about it, like I had someone phrase it in a different way, or like a video that I saw where they kind of like reversed it, and they're saying like, well, if you look at Geralt, like he's a character that just kind of just can have, you know, like sex with pretty much anyone that he wants or whatever. Right. But it's not in that aspect. aspect. It's like if you look at him, he's like he's over sexualized to that purpose too. Like, because he's like I don't know,
guess,
ripped and
but
muscular and stuff like
I would
that.
argue not to the degree that Yennefer and Triss are, because Yennefer, the camera pretty much lingers on Yennefer's ass for a good like 5 seconds, where it kind of just lingers there, and then it goes back up to the rest of her body, which you could make an argument. I personally don't see it as offensive or exploitative. I've seen far worse from games, fucking. And I hate bringing up Watch Dogs again, but I've seen far worse. I've seen far more immature handling of sex and nudity in games before. But I feel like the way Witcher does it, and they made a statement something like, well, the reason we wanted to show her naked is because we wanted to give the players a sense that he actually was intimate with this woman at one time in his life, and it was a time when he was genuinely happy and at peace of mind. Which I understand. I mean, if that's the point they wanted to make with that opening scene where you see Yennefer nude, then that's okay. That's fine. It's not like couples are dressed, or not all couples dress around each other all the time. There are couples that lounge around nude in their houses, so because they're fucking couples, and it's it's like it's no big deal because they've been together for so long. It's a casual thing, which is fine. It's not like Geralt, and to be fair, Geralt does kind of he makes a joke about how, well, like she pretty much blows him off, like, yeah, you go take care of Ciri, which is their kind of like, kind of sort of adopted daughter. She's like, you need to go train Ciri, hurry up, and we don't hurry up, we can't be unreasonable, and Geralt's kind of like, I don't want to be reasonable. And then she's like, I bet you don't, but you need to go anyway. It's the part they showed it. It's the part they showed on the Conan O'Brien gamer thing.
Yeah, that was, oh god, that was so hilarious.
It was pretty.
I can't even. Yeah.
I love Conan O'Brien.
Wait, if you watched that, how did you not see the unicorn scene?
No, I know the unicorn scene shows his ass, but I said so far in the game they don't. And even with the unicorn scene, they still don't on the level that Yennefer and Triss are exposed, or any of the other like generic whores in the game. Not even whores, just women in general, which I don't have a problem with, as long as it's like, not even if it's consensual, but if it's done in a very, what's the term? If it's done in a way that serves a purpose, and just isn't there for a stupid joke or anything. And even like the sex scenes are jokes in a way, but they're tastefully done and they're funny because they actually.
Yeah, and as far as my experience from when I've played The Witcher, like Witcher 2, and what I've seen of Witcher 1.
Fucking.
He doesn't have unconsensual sex. He it's both ways. It's fully consensual. It's not like any of this stuff from some of the other games when you're like, oh, no, sure about this, but okay.
Yeah. Well, even
freaking like Road to what was that? Road to Hell Redemption or something like that. That fucking game.
Which one?
Road to Hell Redemption, that biker game.
Ride to Hell.
Yeah, Ride to Hell. Basically, it's like, let's have random sex now.
Oh my god, where they don't even take their clothes off, and they're just...
Yeah.
There's literally a part where it's like the character can have a threesome with two hookers, and they don't even take their fucking clothes off. They just start dry humping, and he pretty much just grabs the back of their heads and pulls their heads down to his crotch. And I'm like, how the fuck can they even give you a blowjob if your pants are still on, dude? That doesn't work like that. It's just
he's really into clothed sex.
Yeah, it's like when like a little brother takes his sister's Barbies and just pretends to like grinds them against each other to simulate sex. It's pretty much that. It's pretty much that in video game form. Which, actually, I must admit, as offensive as that is, it made me laugh because of just how stupid it was. And I somewhat enjoy that game. It's a terrible fucking game, no question, but it's like The Room of video games, where it's so fucking funny because you have no goddamn idea what the hell was going through these developers' minds at the time.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking funny.
Well, the thing that pissed me off about one of them is like the character in that one stops a woman from being raped, and then immediately is like, oh hey, now I'm gonna have sex with you, and it's like, what?
Well, it's like what? It's like the part in Skyfall when It's the James Bond movie. When Bond picks up that one woman, and she talks about how she's been sexually assaulted while being in the villain's hideout and all that. And then what Bond immediately does after freeing her, hey, let's have sex in the shower. Woo! And I was like, okay. Even though I really like Skyfall, I think that's my favorite Bond movie. That part is still like, okay.
It's like, sure, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I don't think you guys really thought that out when you were writing that. So, and
Yeah.
I understand Bond's a fucking player, but damn, there's a line, and that kind of was dancing the edge of it. But back to Witcher, I think my general opinion of the game so far is I don't think I've reached that point where it's fully clicked for me yet. And I'm pretty sure it's coming. It's not like Bloodborne, where for me, I can pinpoint the moment I fell in love with Bloodborne, where it was the Father Gascoigne fight, and even I was enjoying it before.
Well, yeah, that was, to be fair, that was some hours into it, too.
Yeah, it was the atmosphere and the
he's kind of
art design and the creature design, and the music was top fucking notch. It was amazing, but it still hadn't clicked yet. But right when I got to the Gascoigne fight, and I finally beat him on my, I think, a 6th or 7th attempt, and I just was so overjoyed that I accomplished something, that's when it finally clicked. That's when I went, okay, now I understand what this game is all about. Now I can get behind this game. I fucking love this thing. If the rest of the game is like this, I'm so down. Love it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, I mean, you still got probably like several hours left in that game, and you probably barely like cracked the seal on it.
Probably.
Huh?
I'm probably not even halfway through it, and I've had it for almost 2 months now. Because,
I'm talking about not Bloodborne.
Yeah, I'm talking about Bloodborne.
No, I said I'm talking about Witcher, not Bloodborne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, how the hell have you had Witcher for 2 months?
No. Oh. Yeah, you didn't know that? I've just been keeping it from you guys. I've been having it all to myself.
Keeping it a secret.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking of early releases, I actually really like that they opened up the I think it was 6 p.m. your time and 4 p.m. mine.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I went to go to my store because I thought it would. I think I heard that they were actually going to be doing an earlier release for this, and I was and I was like, okay, I'll get there maybe around like 10 something, and maybe I can grab it then. And I found out they had been doing it for about 4 hours, and I was like, oh, okay, that's whatever. Still got my wolf head keychain and everything.
Yeah.
And also for people that don't know who haven't picked up The Witcher yet, even just the basic generic regular copy of the game comes with a compendium, a map, a CD,
and not
stickers.
Just a digital soundtrack. Actual CD.
Physical, with like 30 tracks.
Yeah. Which I think...
Actually, let me see. It has 31 tracks.
Yeah, which I think more developers should do. I know they're...
Which really, yeah.
They sometimes offer soundtracks as pre-order bonuses, which I think is bullshit.
Well, generally they get tossed into the
collector's edition.
What is it? Like, yeah, the collector's edition, which they've actually stopped doing that recently for some companies. Like Destiny, they didn't release their soundtrack with the collector's edition, which I thought was
the best fucking part of the game.
BS. Yeah, and that really pissed me off. And eventually they gave it away for free later, but I didn't pay attention, so I never downloaded it. And I'm like, whatever at this point. Also, I'm just gonna say, like, today is the day that Witcher wanted to, that Destiny and Bungie wanted to release House of Wolves DLC. Yeah, good luck with that, guys. Good luck.
Well, I think it's out right now, but...
No, I'm saying it is out right now. They released it today.
Well, honestly, it's like...
Good job competing with The Witcher.
Yeah. Well, honestly, from what I've seen so far, not a lot of people are buying The Witcher. I mean, at least from what I've personally seen, I'm pretty sure it's getting a lot of people are buying it. But when I went last night to get it, not a lot of people had it like pre-ordered or really coming in to get it. And I guess my shop, like where I work, they stayed open for an extra half hour just for The Witcher. No one came in to buy it. No one.
Well, the thing you have to remember about The Witcher is, unless you had an Xbox 360, you have no contact with The Witcher if you've never, like, if you don't have a gaming PC at all.
Right.
Because the Witcher 1 was only on PC and Mac.
Yeah.
Witcher 2, for the longest time, which was on PC, and then they did a 360 port, which I played and I thought was really freaking awesome. Loved that game.
I have it.
And the thing is so it was never on a PS3, so if anyone that had a Sony console, anyone that had, like a Nintendo or anything like that, they will have zero experience with it. And some people might be like, well, I didn't play the first or the second one, I don't know if I want to play the third one because,
Right.
like I feel like I'm going to miss story, which is a really nice thing. Is that with each of the Witcher games, you don't really need to have known anything about the previous games to, get anything.
I would argue with 2 that you need to, because 2, like, when I first played it, I never had played the first one before, and when I got into it, I was like, I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I have no fucking idea what's going on. And all I see
is... there's some characters that they mention, but it's like, you don't need them to understand the main plot of that particular story they're telling.
That's true. But in order to appreciate the lore more deeply, you need...
Well, I mean, of course, but I mean, at the same time, like, it doesn't completely rely on, it's like, I'm going to, discover this one thing, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
No,
I
think The Witcher 3 does a better job of that, because it opens with an explanation of the very basic knowledge of, not the characters, but the world. Like, not even fucking Destiny does that.
Well, yeah, that's the reason why CD Projekt Red is good. They established their world. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read the compendium yet, but
no,
and it gives, like, you need to. It only takes about 5 minutes. It gives you basically a rundown on, like, all of the main characters. It gives you, like, a basic understanding of what happened in, like, the last game. Mm-hmm. It gives you just sort of like an understanding about his abilities, sort of like the lore of the world, like the creation myth and stuff like that, and the appearance of the other races and the humans, and like the convergence, which actually caused the rifts, which brought the creatures into the world, and actually what brought the humans into the world too, because the humans weren't originally from the world that they're in.
That's what's in the opening cutscene for the game, which I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But
well, I installed the soundtrack on my computer, and I was listening to the compendium, and I mean it's fairly decent. I haven't opened the map yet, but
the map is awesome.
Yeah, they had at my GameStop they actually had that statue too, the Griffin one. So that was like they just had it kind of openly displayed. But yeah, no, I would say that like The Witcher might be like a slow burn game where to start with, not very many people might not buy it, but then I feel a lot of people are going to hop on it and buy it once they, find out about everything, Well,
it's considered, like, the most anticipated game of the year. I mean, maybe for, like, a lot of game outlets, but I don't think the general public really I mean, they might see the trailer and go, oh, I've never heard of that before. That looks interesting. It's not a brand name, like, Batman or Call of Duty or even Mortal Kombat. It's something, it's relatively new, which I would, maybe not new, but it's relatively, it's one of those, how do I put it? Not obscure. What's the line between well-known and obscure? I'm trying to think of a word that defines that middle ground.
Well-known and obscure? Well, I mean, it's pretty much there. I mean, you don't have to find the exact term. It's just like it's not a game that has that much of a reach. Well, everyone that has a PC should know what the hell Witcher is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you have a console, it's perfectly understandable not to know what the Witcher is. And I think there's some people that kind of got mad because, like, so there's some people that are like, oh, I'm tired of seeing these commercials about The Witcher and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, if you actually knew what it was, you wouldn't be mad at all. You'd be super excited.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to just having games thrown in their face like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, and they're just kind of like, oh, I don't care.
I'm tired of it. That is what I'm tired of. So much as I said last week that I'm somewhat looking forward to Syndicate, I'm so fucking tired of all these, like, yearly franchises.
Well, I was pissed off because I went to my GameStop. I looked over at, like, this like, a little display for Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and it was like, get the gold version, or the gold edition. And I'm like, what the goddamn, guys? Are you kidding me? Like, seriously, just show off your game before you try and start hawking more stuff. Like, it's like, here's the trailer for Syndicate. Buy the season pass. You don't know what's in the season pass, but just go ahead and buy it. It's like people don't want to buy what they don't know. You know, like if you have no idea what people don't like. People like to know what they're paying for. You know, they're not just gonna be like, well, here's $40. If you give me something that's cool. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
It's like the worst case I can think of are those fucking Halo 5 limited collector's edition, which for $250 they haven't even
screw that
in it. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like if you're gonna hawk something, you're gonna tell me what's exactly.
You're gonna ask me to pay $250 plus tax for something that I don't even know what the fuck is in it. It's like, fuck you. No,
it's frankly it's insulting.
What's in it? Don't pull this bullshit of where it's gonna be a mystery box. Well, fuck that.
Also, like, I mean, there's the whole thing with, like, I thought it was pretty funny. Like, I think it was about a week or so ago, I was reading that, God, who's running them right now? 343. One of, like, the head person of 343 was saying something that's like, we're sorry about the last game. You know, we knew going into it that we were going to have issues, you know, making sure all of these games work time and things like that, basically trying to explain away why the game is still broken. And and they're like, we promise we're going to do better with Halo 5. And it's like, are you serious? What?
Wait, say the first
one.
Oh,
no, I was saying, like, one of the head people from 343 Industries saying, like, oh yeah, we're sorry about, like, you know, the Master Chief Collection. Like, we knew it was going to be, like, a tough, like, having all these games all together on one and making it work and things like that.
Fuck you.
And, I mean, they knowingly released the game broken. They thought...
Yeah, it didn't work. So it's like, I don't want your fucking apology. I just want you to do something about it. Just make the fucking game work this time. I'm just tired of this shit.
Apparently, for some people, it still doesn't work. That's it. I mean, they knowingly released a game that was like. And the sad part is, I was getting this from a Review Tech USA article. Like, he's a guy named Rich on YouTube.
Rich of Review Tech USA.
And and he was basically just going on about that. And he's like the thing about the Halo Master Chief Edition or Collection is that they didn't have to release it then. They could have released it at any point in time, and that game would have sold gangbusters.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, that's a game that sells itself. That's a game that'll sell your Xbox One. And you screw it up.
Holiday season. It's and that's why I love CD Projekt Red. Even though I will admit there are some pretty huge bugs and glitches in The Witcher. Just some stuff that I was like, what the fuck, guys? Why didn't you iron this shit out? But so far, they had a relatively smooth launch with as far as graphics go with the game. I mean, there are problems, yes. It's nothing horrendous.
I mean, there's always going to be issues with open world games, though. But I'm pretty sure if there's
weather changing is not something I accept after months of trying to tweak it. I mean, literally, I understand some clipping. I understand some lag, but literally, I was walking through a village at night, and it was like a wintry night. And right before my eyes, it wasn't even a dynamic weather change. It just instantly went from night and snowy right instantly into sunny and spring-like. And it was like, whoa, what the fuck? Whoa, where did that come from?
Well, I mean, okay, so like I said, like for open world games, they're not going to be able to catch necessarily everything, but
catch that.
If there's one,
I've never seen something like that. Not even in New Vegas.
It really depends, man. No, dude. It really does depend. I mean, there's some situations that. No. Well, the thing is you're making it sound as if like that's something that always happens, and that might not be the case. You know,
not that extreme. It doesn't always happen.
No. I mean, hold on. I said doesn't always happen, as in that bug might not always happen when you walk through that village.
Oh.
So it might not have been something that they caught.
Yeah, but they've been working on it for 3 years, and they delayed it like 3 or 4 times. They could catch that. I mean, that's a big fucking bug. That's a big glitch. They could catch something like that. I'm not.
Well,
It
I
didn't
mean,
break the game or anything.
we don't know. I mean,
Well,
it's possible that they could have. It's possible that they didn't, or it's possible that whoever was working on that particular thing didn't think it would happen so often, so they didn't deem it as crucial as something else they had to work on. But the thing is I'm willing to give them a pass for all of their goodwill towards their fans and the stuff that they actually try and do for their fans. You know,
I'm not.
they're actively trying not to screw anyone over. They're trying to do their best.
I agree with that. However, I mean, they could be as nice as they want, but I just from that one bug, I was like, ooh, this still needs some work. This really does need some work. But again, like I said, it's in a relatively good launch, like pretty damn good for what we're used to. Even a lot better
on a scale from Assassin's Creed Unity to what do we say is the best, kind of like a really good launch game? I don't know. I feel like Assassin's Creed Unity is the worst possible example of a launch game going
Assassin's
bad.
Creed there was another one a while back. I'm trying to remember that just launched so fucking horribly. You know what? I'm not gonna go into it because we already did an Assassin's Creed episode. I want to talk about The Witcher because The Witcher is way fucking better. But another thing I think is really interesting about The Witcher is how like the dynamic, and even though I said like with the dynamic environments and everything, it looks amazing when it works. When it doesn't glitch out like that, like the dynamic shift from night to day, and there are a lot of games that do the day and night cycle. Even back like 10 years ago, they were able to do that. More than 10 years ago, they were able to do that. But it looks so good in this because they went to the extra detail of adding, snow and wind and hail and rain. And it looks beautiful.
Okay, well, so
seamless.
Since I actually haven't played it yet, and I can't really talk too much on the game itself, I might be able to ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
How good does it actually look on the PS4?
It looks, again, it's not the PC version. It's not.
Well, yeah, nothing's going to be the PC
version. The definitive version, but it looks great. It's not. And what's weird is that even though people are like, "Oh wow, the PS4 is it's a powerful console. It's so good. It's got all these new hard drive stuff in it." The PS4 is having a little bit of trouble handling The Witcher 3, which I think is really kind of funny. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Not really, though, because the thing is The Witcher is one of those games that people had to go and upgrade their PC on. Apparently, to play The Witcher 3 on PC on some settings, that's hard to do right now.
Yeah, it requires like a good Titan computer in order to do that.
Not even that, man. Like you apparently need to go out of your way to just really upgrade your computer to run Witcher on maximum settings, or else it's not going to happen.
You definitely see that because the game.
There's certain games, like if you think about it, like I don't know if anyone that's listening really knows too much about Crysis, but there's literally something called Can It Run Crysis. And it was such a big thing that when Crysis came out, like it was the benchmark for graphical cards and settings on your PC when the game came out, where basically it's like this game forces you to upgrade your game. And the thing is when it first came out, nothing could really run Crysis on maximum settings without your computer turning into a flame ball. Sometimes literally. And the thing is when they let you download the first Crysis onto the Xbox 360 through the market, they basically did a port version of it. One of the first achievements you get is actually, can it run Crysis? And I mean, to this day, apparently you can even pop Crysis up to 4K resolution, and it still looks fantastic. That's how good of a job that Crytek, I think it was Crytek that did that one, that Crytek did on it. But Witcher 2 was also one of those, and of course Witcher 3 is as well. So it's just one of those games where it's going to test everything.
It's like, holy shit. I mean, it still runs it really well, but you can tell that it's having some trouble keeping up with how fucking powerful it is.
Well, dude, that's what CD Projekt Red probably had to spent most of that time. They're trying to like, well, we got to figure out a way to make this game run on consoles.
Yeah,
I mean, that's probably the reason why they forgot to put in the localization. Why they forgot to put in the localization of Japanese and Korean languages onto the PC version is because they were probably so focused on the console versions to get those work that it just wasn't included. But I mean, wait, what were you saying about the frame rates?
A lot of people gave them shit because it was 60 frames per second. It was 60 frames per second on PC, but only 30 frames on consoles.
That shit is hard to do.
I was like,
only people realize that.
With the amount of detail is in it, there's no fucking way that they could do.
Yeah, generally to get smoother frame rates and higher frame rates, you have to cut down on resolution. That's why, like, there's been, during the resolution frame rate debates, there's been a lot of people saying, like, well, I don't care if my game runs at, like, 1080p. I want it to run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are saying, like, well, no, I want it to look really good. Like 30 frames is fine with me. I can't tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a noticeable difference. But, I mean, I don't feel like 60 frames per second is like the end-all, be-all. Yeah. Probably because I haven't really experienced it too much, but, I mean, I did use the 60 frames on The Last of Us PS4 edition, and, I mean, I thought it looked really good.
Well, they have 60 frames per second is also with the upcoming Metal Gear Phantom Pain. Ground Zero said 60 frames. It looked great.
But the thing is like, there's no way in hell that Metal Gear Solid 5 is going to be anywhere near as detailed as Witcher 3.
No. It already looks really detailed, but not to the level of Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is like, they go to the littlest thing to have. That's like
I would say... I would say that Metal Gear Solid 5 in this comparison would be like probably the B student, and Witcher 3 would be like the A+ student.
I don't know if I'd say a B student. I'd say maybe...
Well, no, I would say in relation to where like they get everything they need to do and they do a good job.
No.
And whereas the A+
really
students
tough.
like the ones that go out of the way to go above and beyond to do like everything they can to make it awesome.
Yeah, but for a huge open world game like Metal Gear, to do that for Phantom Pain to do 60 frames per second, I think that warrants like at least an A- in that category.
Well, okay,
that's
just because
so
they say it's going to be doesn't mean it will be. We'll have to see if that's actually the case when it releases.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be, because Kojima said a long time ago that he didn't want to make the game unless it was 60 frames per second. And I was like, okay, that's good, because Kojima...
On the console or PC? Because he's going to get it on PC.
On both.
All right.
Ground Zeroes was 60 frames per second, so I'm pretty sure...
Well, that was a demo.
I know, but I'm pretty sure Phantom Pain is going to be 60 frames on anything. And even...
Like I said, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait for release.
Well, they showed the PS4 version at Tokyo Game Show last year, and apparently it was running at 60 frames per second, so that's pretty much a definitive sign that we're going to see it at 60 frames per second on the PS4 come...
At least on the PS4.
Yeah. Which, unless Konami cancels that, because they're fucking...
Well, I mean, you also heard, like, before Witcher 3 came out, that CD Projekt Red said that they were actually finally able to upscale the graphics on the Xbox One to where it could be 1080p resolution.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny as hell.
Upscaling.
Yeah, because that means it's not running natively. It's like, it has to upscale just to get to it, which means it's not the actual true resolution of it.
No, but even at 900p, I'm still sure it looks amazing.
Well, no, yeah. Well, The Witcher 3 is a game that's going to look amazing no matter what. And the thing is, I feel like people are getting too uppity about, like, resolution rates and things like that. Honestly, like, I would rather have a game that looks decent but plays amazingly than have a game that looks amazing but plays like shit.
Yeah.
And that keeps happening, and it keeps pissing me off.
Yeah. But anyway, I want to talk more about Witcher, but I want to wait until you have played it and experienced it.
We could probably talk about it next week, because I'll definitely have been able to play it at least a little bit by then.
Sure.
And we can recap. So we can actually, at this point, probably move on to something else. I mean, if you want to talk about Mad Max, which I also haven't seen, so I feel like this week's conversation is going to be a little bit one-sided.
Sure.
All I know is that, people like, at least from my perspective, I can say a couple of things that I know about it, and then you can kind of go on to it. But I'm told that it's basically a 2+ hour climax, and that sounds pretty awesome. And I was really sold when someone says there's a guy on like a moving platform that has speakers, and he's playing a guitar, and he's suspended by a bungee.
Yeah, he's the best.
The guitar shoots out fire, and I'm like, that's all I need to know, man. I want to see this movie now.
For me, Mad Max, and I've seen it twice now. And I was actually really surprised that it's getting like the huge amount of positive reception that it is. I mean, people are like not only saying like it's incredible, it's amazing. They're going on to say it's like one of the best action movies ever made. It's like the best action movie of the last 25 years and stuff like that. And I don't...
Probably the best action movie of this past decade, maybe.
I still think the Ray 2 blows Mad Max out of the water.
Well, I mean, like, I wouldn't say that, like one of the best doesn't mean the best. Because the Raid, oh my god, the Raid.
As far as the way the action is,
great.
the way the action is staged, the way it's filmed, the way it's edited, I think it definitely, if superficially just looking at it, technically, it's one of the best. It looks amazing, and I was constantly just blown away by how good it looks, especially because they use practical effects on almost everything. I think it's like 80% of the movie is practical effects.
Well, because that's the thing, is people can really tell the difference between CG. I mean, apparently it had some CG enhancements, but it wasn't like the whole thing wasn't just a giant CGI mess. I'm looking at you, George Lucas. Ass. That's the reason why I was so turned off of Episode 3 by the fact. I mean, like I have a strong dislike for the prequels. I have a strong dislike for the prequels, but the thing is, I mean, even you, like, even if liking Episode 3, you can look at it and be like, that's too much CGI. Considering what all Lucasfilm did and ILM did with the original trilogy, just with, like, actual models, like how that movie just still looks really awesome. You know, like, hell, I came home yesterday from work, and there's a VHS player in our living room, and Return of the Jedi was on. I'm like, this still looks awesome, and that was in '83, you know. So technically '82 because it would have released in '83. But anyway, like, my point remains valid. It still looks good. That's why I'm so excited about Episode 7 with J.J. Abrams, because he's like, a lot of the stuff there is being built. It's not like just a CGI mess. Of course there's going to be CGI.
Yeah, there's going to be
but
CGI.
Like, a lot of it is built, which I appreciate, because not only does that mean, like, that means he cares that the things actually look good, because honestly, some CGI stuff, if it's done well, looks good to me, or if it's in the style of the movie, like the most recent Tron movie, I thought that looked really good. But
it
in
serves
most cases,
a purpose. Why it's CGI? It serves a thematic purpose in Tron, which I think
and whereas other movies, it's just too much. I feel like in other movies it's way too much, and it just kind of kills it.
Like Avengers, like the whole movie is almost CGI, and it just, there's so much of it that I just start to feel numb to it after a while.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much what happened with Star Wars with me, and then there's a bunch of other movies that are just overly CGI'd, and they just, God, man, they just look bad, and I just stopped caring. I'm looking at you, Michael Bay.
Bad, it's just, you can tell that they're not really doing all of this stuff, that it's all on a soundstage, it's all on behind like green screen, and they're not really interacting with one another. It's like the last Hobbit movie.
Oh yeah, no.
Whenever they fought like those.
Well, not even the last Hobbit movie, dude. Like all of the Hobbit movies.
I think it looked better in the Unexpected Journey, which is still by far my favorite one.
Oh god, no, that movie pissed me off so bad because of its use of CGI. It made me so mad. Because
I don't blame you. I understand, but to me the CGI didn't bother me in that movie, even when I know a lot of people didn't like it because of the CGI, but it really didn't bother me. It wasn't until the second one that it started to bother me, because they take it to such an extreme, and they have that really fight inside Smaug's lair with the lava pit, with the molten gold lava pit. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? This is how we're gonna end this movie? Just some dumbass fight scene in Smaug's lair? Like, oh my god.
Well, no, I mean, like, but the thing is, like, that didn't bother me. I mean, Smaug, of course, had to be, you know, Okay, so the thing for me is I wish Smog would have had some moments where he wasn't all CGI, and just when it was movements, and I wish they would have done a better job of like animatronics and things like that. But in the first movie, all of the orcs, I mean, when they were going around and they were doing their action scenes and they were flying around and stuff, fine, make it CGI, whatever. But when they're standing there talking to each other, like have them in makeup, have them in prosthetics. I mean, they did that in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it looked
still
good.
I love an unexpected journey. I love the CGI in that, but I still think it looks so much better in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, well, no, because the thing is when something is actually done and it's real and physical, people are always going to be more receptive to it. I just felt it was lazy on his part.
Right.
I mean, hell, I mean, there's a moment where there's a meme that went around the internet when that first movie came out, where it was Ian McKellen dressed as Gandalf sitting in a room, and it was a green screen all around him, and the thing just reads, Sir Ian McKellen on the scene of The Hobbit broke down and started crying because he's like, this is not acting, you know?
No, I understand. But...
And so, like, basically, like, I don't know what... honestly, like, I feel like shit, I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is that does...
Peter Jackson?
Yeah, Peter Jackson. Like, I feel like Peter Jackson got too much of an ego, like George Lucas...
Yeah.
When he did his second trilogy.
I don't think
that's exactly how I feel.
I don't think he...
No, not that I agree, but there's so much stuff... Well, the thing is The Hobbit should not have been 3 movies, first of all.
No, it should.
It should not have been 3 movies.
That completely is Jackson's
because the thing is The Hobbit could have been 1 movie.
Yeah,
and
there's
then
an edit
if they wanted to fill in other content... Well, the thing is the Tolkien family... I think was fine with the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, but after seeing An Unexpected Journey, Tolkien's living relative right now said, I'm not giving you any more rights to do anything, because there's people saying like, oh, well, let's do something for the appendices.
Oh, the Silmarillion as well.
Yeah, the Silmarillion. Yeah, for the Silmarillion, and he was like, no, I'm not going to give you the rights to do that, like, after what he saw. Because the whole thing is, like, for people that don't know, The Hobbit is a relatively short book. And the thing is a lot of the extra stuff that they tossed into the movies to actually make it that long was stuff from the appendices and stuff that was talked about in the first Lord of the Rings book, the Council of Elrond. Because there's things they talked about in the Council of Elrond.
Just to set up the events of Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's not even that. No, it's not even that. Like,
and to pad out time.
Well, okay, so the thing is in the Council of Elrond, there's a lot of stuff they talked about, like Gandalf fighting Sauron, fighting the wizard, and all of these other things, and they're like, well, you know what, we didn't have that in the movie, let's use that to extend the Hobbit trilogy, let's just go show all of that content that was not actually in the Hobbit, because it always followed Bilbo Baggins, it never cut over to Gandalf the way it did, and all these times, basically, we never saw Radagast. We just hear about Gandalf going off to take care of some issues, and they go into all of these extra things. I mean, there was no Legolas. Apparently, they wanted Viggo Mortensen to reprise Aragorn, but the thing is, he's like, Aragorn wasn't in the book, so he refused to do it. Which, first of all, shows me that Peter Jackson stopped caring about it and was just trying to make money off of it. And I don't know. It just really made me mad. I still haven't watched the last movie yet because I had zero desire to do so.
Then
I could have rented it from Redbox.
You'll dislike it so much because I think, like, when you see the orcs, there's a part where
the White Orc should have never been in that movie because he was a character that existed, but he died. Like the scene that they showed in the first movie, he actually died.
There's a scene where
he didn't keep living. He didn't chase, he didn't chase Bilbo around. They basically just used him as a character, and they Frankensteined him back to life, so they could basically use him as an antagonist to the trilogy, or the antagonist in the movies. Because the thing is, they were just going on an adventure, which I appreciated about.
That's why the Rankin.
It wasn't like we're being chased, It just pisses me off.
The animated Rankin-Bass movie blows away the Hobbit trilogy. Like, that one little 70-minute cartoon has far more adventure and spirit and heart of the original novel than anything in and stuff.
Yeah, because that's the problem. Like, the thing is for like people that don't know, is The Hobbit was a kid's book. The Lord of the Rings was a more mature version of that, and there's a whole chapter with when you run into Gollum in the Hobbit book that's called Riddles in the Dark. That was actually that Tolkien went back and added to, like, he rewrote that chapter and went and added it to The Hobbit, just so this Smeagol character would make more sense in Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. But so it's just really frustrating for me that, and the thing is the movie itself, at least Unexpected Journey, contrasted itself so much that it bothered me. Because the thing is they have their characters that look cartoonish in, like, silly, like the Goblin King inside the mountain.
That was a cool design. I just don't like that everything about that scene was CGI.
Well, no. I mean, like, that bothers me too. No, like, that bothers me too. But the thing is like, from my perspective, like, he looked really goofy, and I'm like, if that movie was going to follow how the original book went, that would be perfectly fine. But the thing is then they turn over and they have these really grisly-looking Uruk-hai and orcs and stuff like that. Oh yeah,
there's like full-on decapitation in the first movie.
Yeah, no, like, the thing is the movie clashes with itself because it's contrasting with what kind of tone it wants to present to the audience. Are we supposed to be having a goofy adventure? I mean, with some serious moments, or are we having a super serious movie? Like, what kind of movie are you trying to sell to me? And I feel like you don't even know yourself, because the thing is you want to appeal to the Lord of the Rings people, but at the same time, you're still trying to keep the goofy, kid elements. But it's like, I feel like you have to choose one or the other, or else it's not going to work.
Well,
like, if you wanted to go all Lord of the Ringsy and dark, you should have, like, done a redesign on those characters and made them look like dark, and actually more grisly.
Right. But like I said,
I just laugh and I'm like, what is this crap?
I wouldn't recommend watching Battle of the Five Armies then, because the whole movie is almost all CGI, and it looks so fake. I mean, I enjoy it. I think it's a dumb movie, but I still think it's entertaining. I'll definitely take it over something like, I don't know, like name some other generic, like the last Die Hard movie. I'll definitely take fucking Hobbit over goddamn.
Oh yeah, no. Like, I feel like that last Die Hard movie was just an excuse for them to find a new character so they could keep making Die
Hard. But there's a part
where, like, let's just have John McClane's son, and he can be an action
hero. There's
a
part in Battle of the Five Armies where I finally realized what my major problem with the effects were, is that there's no grit to any of it. It just looks so fake, and it feels fake because the actors aren't really fighting when they fight. Like, there's a part where Bard the Bowman, and it's a really specific moment, but it sticks out for me every single time I think about the movie. There's a part where Bard the Bowman clashes swords with one of the orcs with a sword. But when he, like, clashes, like in Lord of the Rings, when they clash swords with an orc or the Uruk-hai, there's actual weight. There's a resistance.
Because they actually used real things.
They're actual props. There's a clang. And not only do you see it, but you feel it. You can feel that bashing of steel on steel. But in The Hobbit, particularly in that scene, when I saw Bard the Bowman hit the orc's sword with his, there's no resistance in Bard the Bowman's muscles. There's no kind of resistance with the sword. It just looks like...
Because he's not interacting with anything that's real.
He's hitting air, and you can tell that, and it looks so bad, and it just took completely out of the movie.
Yeah, well, the thing is, some people are going to be like, oh, well, there was CGI in the Lord of the Rings movies. Yes, there was. I mean, especially at the Battle of Helm's Deep. But the thing is the thing,
Fields, all that stuff.
Yeah. But the thing is CGI should be used to enhance scenes. They shouldn't be used to replace.
And I'm not going to say the Lord of the Rings CGI looks quote unquote seamless, but it looks a lot better, and it actually makes those scenes special.
Yeah, but they do it in scenes where it's not like where they don't make the CGI the focal point, where it's like it's something that like when I want to say Aragorn.
It's
What?
given a personality. That's why.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's a moment in the second Lord of the Rings when Aragorn jumps on the back of a warg with a goblin, and the goblin is real. He's real. The warg isn't real, but the thing is that they're not super focused in on it, so we know that it's fake, clearly. But the thing is, it's so far away, we don't really tell, Like, it's not super, super obvious where it's like you're like having two CGI characters talk to each other, and you're like, I don't like this,
Yeah. But anyway, like, back to Mad Max. Like I said, the even when they use CGI, it's used very sparingly, and it looks beautiful. It looks so good whenever they do. Like, there's the scene in the trailer with the gigantic sandstorm with the tornadoes and everything. Oh my god. It looks amazing. It looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
But I also love how they actually built all the cars that in the movie. All the cars were drivable, no matter how fucking crazy they look. From what I've heard, they're all drivable, which I was so blown away by. And
I mean, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Totally. And I don't know. Just on a stylistic level, I think the movie has a lot of personality. I think there's an actual driven passion behind it. I think George Miller genuinely loves this world, and I feel like he saw a lot of like the revisits, a lot of like old franchises, and he kind of went, no, this is how you do it, and he kind of just went back and he did it, and it was so good that it makes all these other ones like fucking Kingdom of the Crystal Skull look like shit by comparison.
Well, to be honest, out of the three revisits to movie franchises that I'm going to see this year, I feel like Mad Max has done it right. I haven't seen it yet, but from everything I hear, it's done it right. You say it's done right. I feel like Star Wars is going to be done right, especially from everything that J.J. Abrams has done. I don't have much hope really low hopes for Jurassic Park.
I don't get that. Yeah. I don't understand how people are like creaming themselves over Jurassic World. To me, it just looks,
I'm not.
Just so mediocre.
I've been really let down so far. So basically, it's like SeaWorld, but dinosaurs, and then their major plot twist is that they're like, let's genetically mix a T-Rex with something else, so it's super really smart and it can be dangerous.
Yeah,
like that clearly didn't go bad the first time.
Yeah, and then from like the first clip that I saw, the dialogue is horrible.
Oh god! And then freaking Chris Pratt's character is like, the raptors won't eat me if they respect me.
Oh my god, like, yeah, I saw like the first time they showed the teaser for that, where
those raptors would eat him alive.
Yeah, where they showed the teaser for that, where he
Good God.
What was it? Where he was like jumping out of the gate and he was on the motorcycle and the raptors were behind him. Everyone was like, "Oh, it looks so cool." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
No, it doesn't.
This looks stupid." Like,
No. Well, initially I thought that he was on a motorcycle running from the raptors, but then when I saw them run past him, I was like, what?
It's like, oh, the raptors are on his side now. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm like, the raptors were the scariest thing from the first Jurassic Park because they were smart and deadly. The T-Rex was just sort of like a force of nature, whereas the Velociraptors were just so, they were cunning, they opened the doors, they were clearly intelligent, they were scary. Yeah. And, oh god, I mean, that one scene in the kitchen from the first Jurassic Park where they're hiding from the raptors.
And I'm not even all that crazy.
And I feel like this new one's just going to be a major letdown.
Yeah, I'm honestly not even all that crazy about Jurassic Park in general. But I
love Jurassic Park. I'm so disappointed right now.
I'm kind of like, I feel sorry for people that are kind of like, this isn't really what I grew up with. It just doesn't look... And again, it's all CGI, and it looks worse than the 1993 original movie.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that bothers me too. Is if a movie from the 90s came better than your movie, you're doing something wrong. Hell, I mean the Star Wars movies from the 70s look. I mean, even with their claymation and crap, look realer than some of these CGI movies. I would take Empire Strikes Back visually over any of the Hobbit movies any day of the week. I would say it looks better visually.
No, and I agree. And as much as I still like the Hobbit movies, even though the effects are a problem for me. But yeah, I would definitely take the visuals of Empire Strikes Back over any of the three Hobbit movies. Except for maybe The Shire, because The Shire always looks amazing.
Well, I mean, that was technically they built that in Lord of the Rings.
It's a great set.
That was something they built a long time ago. They built that thing like 10 plus years ago, and they were just revisiting it. And the thing that really bothers me is when they first went to New Zealand and they did all that, there was a lot of like cooperation and a lot of good stuff. Like people were like really excited, you know, and participate. And apparently, like they lost that goodwill when they went and made the Hobbit movies. I mean, hell, there was even, I don't know if you remember this, but like they had a lot of their horses or cattle that they had for the movie fall off a cliff because of crappy management. So a lot of their animals died. Mm-hmm. And I just, you know, all of the things that I saw even before I saw that first movie, I just can't forgive it for, like, Peter Jackson could have made that movie look so good. I mean, I can understand if maybe they broke it into 2 movies, you know, I could understand that. Like, the first movie was fine the way it was, pretty much, I think. And then if they would have just had them get to, you know, crap, I'm trying to remember the dragon's name. Smog, whatever. The Smog. And Smog was the first half of the movie, and the Battle of the Armies was the second half of the movie. Cool. But, like, they literally made a whole movie revolve around the last 2 chapters of the Hobbit book.
They stretched that out as far as it could go, and even
when they said there was going to be a trilogy, I'm like, what are they going to cover? You know, are they just going to have like Bilbo walking through like a forest for an hour? Is that what they're going to do? I mean, God, I don't even know how to feel about any of that. No, I do know. It makes me mad. And then he was messing with like a higher frame rate.
That's
for films, but the thing is,
that's
it looks
the shit
really
that annoyed
weird.
me. Like, I do not think 48 frames per second should be the norm in cinema whatsoever.
No, because the thing is the 24 frames per second in film. I mean, it's not like we're playing a video game, okay?
Yeah.
We're watching a cinematic experience, and we're pretty much on a 2D plane when we're watching this. Mm-hmm. And it just, there's a certain thing about movies, you know, where, I mean, like, for those of you that haven't studied it, there's actually a lot of mini breaks that we don't see, but our eyes and our brains kind of perceive 24 frames per second differently than what it actually is. Like, we can actually put everything together, and it's fascinating, to be honest, but when you enhance the frame rate, you really draw attention to other elements of it, and the thing is, especially with the super overuse of CGI plus the higher frame rates, you really notice it. You really notice it. Like, how poor it looks.
And I think I can flip that back around to it works the both same way for games, too. When I hear all the time about how, we're trying to make the game cinematic by having it be 30 frames per second, and we're trying to make the fucking widescreen aspect ratio that bothers me too. And I was like, dude, fuck the order, because the order has that bullshit widescreen effect that obstructs your vision. You can't see shit while you're trying to shoot, and it's like there's no cinematic effect, and it's trying to look, like I said before, it's a gimmicky effect that ruins the gameplay, and it's a shitty game to begin with. But
definitely. Well, because in my opinion, if like there's so many people that are saying like, we're trying to make this game like a movie experience, where it's like, well, if you want to make a movie, friend, go make a movie.
Yeah.
If you want to make a game, make a game.
The movie experience,
you know, I don't want my game to be basically a CGI movie.
No.
You know,
the movie experience,
that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, the movie experience comes naturally. It comes from
well, I mean, especially from the fact that a movie can cost anywhere from $7 to $15 to watch, at much different a $60 video game, where basically you're giving someone like, I even counted up the amount of time I spent playing The Order, and The Order for me was about 8 hours long. And so theoretically, if, let's just say I watched, you know, even if I watched like a couple of hour 45-minute movies, you know, that would fill up that time relatively quickly, and I would have only probably spent about $30.
Yeah.
You know, and about in the same amount of time watching movies that I spent playing that game. Thankfully, I never bought the game. I just rented it off Redbox. But that's my thing. Like, if you're trying to make a movie or a game and make it into a movie, you should just make the movie instead, because people are not going to be receptive to that game. They're going to be like, well, I'm like 8 hours on this, and there's nothing else to do. You know, it's not like, I mean, I could kind of understand what people were saying about the Metal Gear Ground Zeroes demo, where there's like, well, you know, I can get a lot of extra time out of this doing other things and playing around, which I can kind of understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. But the thing is, with The Order, you can do nothing different in that game. You are on rails. There is nothing you can do different. So basically, it's not like Metal Gear, where you can be like, well, I'm gonna be like super aggressive this time and I play it, and I'm gonna be super sneaky this time. No, it's just the same thing either way. And The Order was a giant. They should have made that into a movie. No, you know, that would have been a good.
They should have made that into an animated miniseries.
Well, no, I mean like an animated movie, animated miniseries. It would have been good.
Yeah. But like I don't want to keep talking about The Order, but the last thing I'll say about The Order is that even as just, like, you can have a game be linear, you can have it be story driven. Look at Bioshock Infinite. Look at The Last of Us. You can have it be linear. You can have it go a certain direction without multiple endings, without multiple branching paths, and it can still be really satisfying and really entertaining.
Oh yeah, like.
And The Order,
like The Last of Us did that, and it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Mine too.
It's I mean, because there's also a thing about is you can tell when someone's taken the time to well script the environment, the actions, everything that's going on. And one of the reasons why I love The Last of Us so much is the atmosphere. It's the music. It's the ambiance. It's the tension you get when you're trying to sneak around a clicker.
Oh.
You know, it's every little bit of that game has been crafted to where you feel tense. You don't know what's... Even when there's nothing there, you feel like there could be something there. It's just... It was a fantastic game. I love it. I want to replay it. I just don't have the time to do it right now. I love the game. I'm going to replay it again before the second one comes out. And I'm so excited because the thing is if they could make the second one, like, if they can just basically nail it the way they nailed that first one, then it's going to be one of the greatest video game sequels of all time, in my opinion. And people said that the first Last of Us was overrated, and I mean, it might have, like, I mean, in the sense where, like, it had too much media, you know, like, basically where it was thrown in people's faces, like the Call of Duty banners and the, you know, the other stuff. But the thing is, honestly, I feel like it deserves all of the good reviews it gets. It's a solid, like, 95-plus game. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've been playing games for 20 years. Basically, it touched on a franchise, or it touched on a genre, like, sort of like, because, I mean, it was a survival horror, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like it had several horror elements. And the thing is, generally, I don't like playing horror games. I like avoiding horror games, because for me, they suck, and they never really do their job the way they're supposed to. The only good horror element games that I've ever played in my life have been Resident Evil 4 and The Last of Us.
I think, as far as the horror goes, I like, Last of Us. I would argue...
Well, let's just say the PT demo. The PT demo was probably the scariest one I ever played in my life.
That thing was fucking nerve-wracking. I would argue Bloodborne is also survival horror, because that...
Well, yeah, no, that one is survival horror, too. But, I mean, like, the thing is, I feel it's very rare when someone gets it right, just like nowadays when someone actually gets a horror movie right. I feel like if you do it right, it's good. If you do it if you just kind of go and do it and half-ass it, it's gonna suck. Like
even like
the remake of The Thing is actually one of my favorite horror movies too, because that movie was freaky as hell.
Yeah. Even some of the praised horror movies, I'm kind of underwhelmed by. Like I recently watched the Babadook, and that's supposed to be like one of the best horror movies of the last like 10 years. And I was so underwhelmed by it, and I just thought it was.
Well, I mean, like
funny.
There was one that I think I need to watch, Rosemary's Baby. I heard that's
fucking
scary,
freaky as hell. I mean, it's not terrifying like viscerally. It's
like psychologically.
Yeah, it's more scary, as in like, oh shit, this actually is fucking happening. This is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a waking nightmare, which I think is really interesting. I love movies like that. And ones that don't focus on, like, hallucinations and trip outs and stuff. It's all about you being stuck in a reality you have no control over, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Which, to me, is really interesting. But I'll talk about my problems with Mad Max with you next week, just because I want you to see it first before we talk.
Was there anything else you wanted to cover? Because we're hitting about the hour 20 minutes. Well, I mean, that's not really how long we've been recording for, but mark.
Hour 10. We've been going an hour and hour 10 so far, from what I can. Hour 11 now.
Yeah.
I mean, did you want to quickly talk about the Xbox One bricking thing?
Oh yeah. That I really wanted to talk about that.
Okay.
That pisses me off.
I will step back.
So
you have the floor, sir.
For people that don't know, recently there was information leaked about like Xbox One content, most notably the remaster trilogy, I believe, for Gears of War.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is it came from some people that were basically playtesting it for Microsoft, or this one company. And like Microsoft went to this company, and then that company was basically handling it, and then some of them from that company went and they shared some information about it. They shared some footage and stuff, apparently, even though there was supposed to be a non-disclosure agreement about it. So the thing is everyone can pretty much agree that if someone participates in shenanigans on Xbox Live or something like that, that they're going to get their account banned. But did Microsoft stop there? No, they bricked these people's consoles. They went to their account, bricked the consoles, so the consoles won't work for the foreseeable future until Microsoft deems that, that they can actually use their systems again. And I feel like that's completely bullshit, because once you own something, even originally I think they would ban people's accounts if they did modding and hacking and stuff like that. But at that point in time, that was just banning their accounts. That would if you take someone's property, especially like something that someone paid $350 for, or more, because there were still a lot of people that bought it when it was $500, when they still forced people to do that crap, and basically you turn their $500 console into a brick. I cannot ever agree with that. Ban their Xbox Live account, yes, but they have zero grounds to actually brick their consoles. That's literally like if you I want to say you got like a TV. Let's just imagine it like this. You buy a TV, and you share a picture of your TV, and the company is like, oh, I don't like that you shared a picture of our TV. We're going to make it to where your TV doesn't work. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would disagree with that and be like, well, my TV's a hunk of plastic now. There's no point in it. And I spent all this money. I cannot get behind that, and I don't know if that's what they plan on doing for people in the future, or if that's just because of the whole leaking of information. But they should have just pretty much been either reprimanded and fired, with their Xbox Live accounts suspended because of what they shared via the Xbox Live accounts. But never in a million years should their consoles be bricked, and that's what happened. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, well, yeah, I'm okay with this happening to cheaters and things like that. I'm like, well, these people weren't cheating. It's just,
well,
that amount of power is disgusting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I just, it really bothers me. It really bothers me. Because that means that taking it further, like, at one point in time, when we owned something physically, we physically owned it, you know? It's like, that's why I'm so scared of digitally downloaded games, is because I'm always worried at some point in time they're going to be like, oh, well, you can't use this game anymore because we say so. Because you don't actually own it. Because you're just kind of borrowing it for us, but you paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't generally buy digitally downloaded games. And I mean, that was a whole worrisome thing about Xbox, the Xbox One initially, is with the whole DRM, is that they didn't want people sharing games with each other. And it just really worries me that, you know, like, that people will accept this as a standard and be like, oh, yeah, that's fine, brick the console. It's like, no, dude, that's BS. It's not right. Because if someone buys something, that's their property. But apparently that's not the case anymore.
No, I agree with, like, I really have nothing to add. I completely agree with everything you're saying.
And yeah, it just really discourages me from ever trying. I mean, like, I would never get my console bricked from them, but at the same time, I can't agree with someone that feels it's okay to do that.
Right.
So that's pretty much where I stand on that. Also, can I just say that WB Games is having 2 major titles released this month and next month?
Mm-hmm.
Both Witcher and Batman, they're getting that money.
This has been the best, like, season for game releases I've seen in so long. I mean this.
Also, if you think about it, 2 of the major games coming out this year are, like, trilogies. Witcher Part 3, Batman Part 3.
That's true.
You know?
But as far as, like, and I was talking to a friend about this last night, and I've been saying this season of spring has been, like, the best game season I've seen in a while. I mean, we've gotten Final Fantasy 15 demo, got Bloodborne. I've bought 5 games. I'm about this. I think this is my 5th or 4th game so far this year, and that's almost unprecedented for me because I only used to buy maybe like 2 or 3 games a year. But it's not. It hasn't even been the year. Half of the year hasn't even gone by yet, and I've bought more games in these past, I think, 3 months than I've bought maybe, like, in 1 year ever.
Well, yeah. Generally, I'll buy, like, maybe like 5 or more games a year, depending on what's going on. But the thing is this year's actually brought out a couple of games that I wasn't expecting that I would even be interested at all, like Bloodborne, and I'm like, I want to own that. Like, I'm gonna wait until later in the year, just when I have more money for it. But I mean, I want to say things I've actually physically bought this year. I've got The Witcher. I digitally bought Dragon Ball Xenoverse because I've had actually a lot of fun with that game.
How is that?
You know, I like it. I mean, the thing is like, you won't understand the story unless you've actually watched Dragon Ball Z, because they kind of, like, skip around a lot of stuff and they don't really explain it.
Right.
But yeah, so I want to say, like, I got Mortal Kombat this year. I got Witcher, I got Dragon Ball, I'm going to get Bloodborne at some point in time, I'm definitely going to get Batman. That's already 5 games right there. You know, and that's not even the other games that we're going to get announced from E3, which they're going to be dropping games in the holiday season that they're announcing at E3 for sure. I'm going to avoid the Call of Duty like the plague. I mean, I'm going to most likely just redbox the story on that one, along with some other ones. That's how I'm going to end up playing some other games, but yeah. Like, I would say this is a good year for games.
Yeah, it's been so much better already than last year.
Last year was a colossal screw-up.
Yeah, last year was really fucking underwhelming. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the show today. Oh, real quick thing. I found out there's, like, a really kick-ass flash sale going on, and I'm really excited because this is why I love PlayStation, because this flash sale is so awesome, because I've been talking about getting the Battlefield 4 Premium Edition. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And they finally put it on sale, and I think it's like $24 for the season pass by itself, I think, and $30 for the Premium Edition, where it's the bundle.
Yeah.
I think, let me check. Oh no, it's $20 for the season pass, and then $24 for the premium edition. And then the Trials Fusion Season Pass, which was originally $20, is $10. I was like, fuck yeah. This is the Season Pass I've been waiting for. So I'm already a happy gamer today, because I got The Witcher, I got Life is Strange installed just now, so I'm going to play that once I log off here.
Yeah.
I definitely, once Life is Strange is over, I definitely need to talk about that, because it's not a great game, but I feel like it's one of the most important games out there for a variety of reasons. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, and that's our show for today. All about unicorn stuffed unicorn sex and realistic beard physics and yeah, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Go buy The Witcher. Go buy The Witcher.
Yeah, definitely go buy The Witcher.
I'm actually like, everyone just left my house, so I'm about to play it right now.
Hell yeah!
So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, you're gonna really enjoy it. All right, I won't keep you any further. Right. You need to go play The Witcher right now. You need that time.
All right, I'm gonna go play it. Oh my God, Adam! Best game of 2015. 10 out of 10. Game Awards, Game of the Year edition, game of the double year, Game of the decade, game of the century. Oh my God! I'm dead now.
Oh. You'll see.
Oh my God!
I have to go bury you now.
But
oh well.
Okay. All right. Thanks everyone. Rate, subscribes. Hate mails, not hate mails, good mails, comments section discussions. Yay, 1 subscriber.
Yeah. Special shout out to the people that have actually told me that they enjoy the show so far. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Hopefully, okay. So by next week, we should hopefully be able to just have more of a two-way conversation on things instead of just being like one-sided.
Yeah.
Like this kind of was this week, because I just had, like, everything we talked about, I just really haven't had the chance to see yet. I've just been too busy with work.
Yeah, man, I couldn't wait to see Mad Max. Like, I went, like, Thursday night, I was like, oh my God, I can't fucking wait till Friday. I need to go see it now.
Yeah, well, the thing is, yeah. But hey, we can, thank you. Have a great day. If you have anything that you want us to try and talk about next week, just let us know. Send us comments and things like that. All right. Okay. Bye.
Later.
Bye.